Ugandans out of poverty. Particularly, 39% of those in subsistence are supposed to be included in the money economy. This money will be channeled through the parishes, which is the lowest administrative unit. Uganda currently has more than 10,000 parishes. Parish chiefs have been they've been recruited recently, especially for about 5,000 of those parishes. Ugandans are asking, where was this idea conceived? Has it been piloted? And will it succeed where other such initiatives have failed? That's what we discuss on the big debate today. Would like you to participate in the program. So on social media, use the hashtag SEETV Big Debate so that we're able to see your questions and your comments. We have a panel of two. Let's meet our panelists.
Our panel tonight. Gareth Namuga is a Ugandan politician who serves as the Mawogola South Member of Parliament and Shadow Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation from the National Unity Platform Party. Namuga is a procurement officer by profession and has served as the chairperson of Masaka Women Concern for Development, a community-based organization which aims at uplifting and transforming the lives of women in the greater Masaka region. Namuga holds a bachelor's degree in procurement and logistics management, purchasing, procurement, acquisitions, and contacts management. Namuga also possesses a postgraduate diploma in logistics and distribution management, purchasing, procurement, and acquisitions. Gareth Namuga is a strong advocate for transparency and accountability and has been very vocal about corruption and misappropriation of funds. She also boasts of defeating 5 men to become Mawogola South Member of Parliament. Cyprian Chilan-Young is the Commissioner of Finance and Planning in the Ministry of Local Government. Mr. Chilan-Young is a tax policy and tax administration expert and key in Ugandan tax legislation. He is also an expert in tax treaty negotiations and implementation and was part and parcel in the development of Uganda's double taxation agreement policy. He previously was responsible for issuing tax ruling in Uganda Revenue Authority. He has spent a total of 23 years in revenue administration and has worked with all tax types throughout the country. He has experience in public finance management, policy and strategic planning for sub-national governments. Chilan-Young has a Bachelor of Statistics and Development Economics from Makerere University, a postgraduate diploma in Project Planning and Management from Gulu University, and a postgraduate diploma in Tax and Revenue Administration, Domestic Taxes Administration. Ladies and gentlemen, our panelists.
Honorable Namuga and Chilan-Young, welcome to the big debate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Ugandans have been hearing about this new kid on the block, the parish development model. And the first question that has been coming up is, how different is this from the array of programs that government has been introducing, claiming that they will take Ugandans out of poverty? Mr. Chilan-Young, can we hear from you first on what exactly is this, parish development model, and how different is it from what we've seen in the past?
So thank you, Gabriel, and good evening, viewers. My name is Cyprian Chilan-Young. I'm the Commissioner of Policy and Planning from the Ministry of Local Government. So parish development model is a strategy. It is a mechanism for moving people out of the subsistence sector into the money economy. And in so doing, we are moving people out of poverty. So it's a priority program of government, and now the focus is if we could increase household income by making the people in subsistence sector produce more than they consume. Problem has been that there are a lot of people out there who are comfortable with the status quo. So for as long as they have 1 acre or 2 of land and they cultivate some crops, they have food in their granary, they have a cow which gives them milk, they are comfortable. There is no need to work very hard. So they just stay under the tree, they really play cards and so on. But now we are saying, look, can you produce more than you are consuming? So that production that is excess, you bring it to the market and it should be able to give you some income. And so this income should be able to increase your standard of living because you have money to be able to buy better things and also to have medicine and live a better standard of life. So this is what Parish model is all about. Now, you asked, how is it different from the rest of the wealth fund initiatives that have been got all along, implemented by government? I would say simply, the Parish model is different because of its design. It's designed to succeed. And I'll tell you why. Parish development model is designed in 7 pillars, which support each other. The main pillar is the increase of production, which is pillar number 1. So the rest of the 6 pillars are there to support. So what we are saying is, what do you need to increase production? Is it a problem of infrastructure? Is it because the road is not good for you to transport the production to the market or to the factory? So we set up a pillar to deal with that, to make sure that the culvert that has been disturbing the parish is fixed, is repaired, such that the vehicles can easily transport the production out. Is the problem because you don't have money to increase production? We say, look, let's improve the financial capacity in the parish by forming a circle which will be able to lend money across within the parish, so that you don't have to go to the commercial bank, you don't have to go to money lenders in order to increase production. So we are saying, look, let's set up a PDM circle in the parish so that it becomes the financial base of the parish. If your problem is schools, because the schools are far or because the health center is far, you are unable to concentrate in production, that pillar is also there, which we call social services. Services are brought nearer. If it means having a parish, a primary school in every parish, so we have to make sure that that happens. If it is to make sure that the teachers are teaching, the Ministry of Ministry of Education has to make sure that this is happening. So, so the whole of government is actually coming to the parish to support the parish, the farmers in the parish, and the businessmen to increase production and then be able to get market and get a good price. And
your description of the farmer was that the farmer is comfortable with producing for subsistence, and therefore a total mind shift is needed. What are you planning to do to make people stop thinking consumption to production for, so that they have excess that they can sell and make money from?
Gabriel, this is also one of the pillars. We call it community mobilization and mindset change. That pillar is targeting the population which is in subsistence much of the time. So this is how it's going to do. We're already having trainings. We're going to have trainings, workshops. We've already trained trainers of trainers, this at the national level, and we've also trained at the district level. So now where we're moving is to the constituency level, to be able to train people in the sub-counties on the PDM and basically on mindset shift.
All right.
And as you know, really, before you come in, it's not a one-off. We have programs where we shall continue to have regular programs, like on radio, like in schools, having concerts, finding a way of getting to the people's mind to change their mindset.
Before I bring Honorable in, those programs that you're talking about, laudable as they may be, aren't these programs that should have happened way before the parish development model was launched? Because it's already been launched, and now you're talking about training trainers. The trainers then have to come and train the beneficiaries. There's still a long way to go, and yet we're starting to give money out.
What, Gabriel, you may not know is that our parish model started on 1st July 2021. So it started with preparatory activities. One of them is recruitment of parish chiefs. And I'm sure you've been following. we've probably reached about 98% of recruitment of parish chiefs. Actually, we're moving to a stage where we just have to now do replacement of the parish chiefs. The second thing that we've been doing is make sure that all the new administrative units across the country have been operationalized. So we've been able to get funds to operationalize these administrative units, and they're in the process of beginning. And this is all groundwork towards the implementation of the parish development model, because, as you know, I'll call it PDM. PDM actually stands on the pillar of the parish chief as the secretary of the parish development committee. So we have to make sure that we have competent people appointed at that level. Right. Now, the training, as I told you, started earlier on before the launch. The launch, what we did with the launch is we drilled down for the, we could call it a small pilot to enable the launch, but the training has been done across board. The only one which is remaining is now moving into the constituency level.
Honorable Namuga, yesterday the opposition in Parliament did give their position on this parish development model. It seems like you're not fully in agreement with government moving with the parish development model. What exactly are your issues?
Good evening, dear viewers. My name is Gorette Namuga, the Member of Parliament from Ogola County South. I come from the village of Sembabule. It is very amazing. You've said yesterday, but we gave the alternative last year. When government put on table the parish model, we immediately gave in our alternative.
What was that you were giving yesterday?
No, yesterday it was just a general debate. It was a general debate about the parish model, which wasn't concluded, and tomorrow we are having a debate for the full day. Other activities have been put aside on the order paper, and they are going to give the parish model the time it deserves. I would like to inform Ugandans that Gabriel would have told Ugandans, no,
Mr. Chilanyang.
No, there is the other Christian name I would love
Cyprian.
to use. Cyprian. Cyprian would have told the viewers, why agriculture? Why not something else? Because that's what we want to hear. Dear viewers, it's not the first time for government to really come in with various programs of improving livelihoods and the quality of lives of Ugandans. And I highly believe a big investment has been put in that area. But we question, what's the impact? It was in Tandikwa some time back. NADS has been there, Operation Wealth Creation, now Emyoga. This time around, the parish model. It's not that the opposition is against the parish model. Any leader would really concur with government, would be in support of government bringing money to the people. But we want to ask, when you look into the factors of production, do you think capital to Ugandans who are farmers? I come from a district where agriculture is our main source of income. Is capital the problem this time? We can ask, why have we been borrowing money from banks? And at the end of the day, we've been losing it all. Agriculture has become one of the risky ventures in this country. Very unsustainable. Prices are very unstable. Gabriel, we had cooperatives. These were far closer to the people than the parish model. These were being operated at a parish level. People would appreciate what a cooperative is, and they would have more time to engage. Government has carried on. For example, I may give you the Myoga, which is actually, it is going to run concurrent with the parish model. And we've witnessed that a lot of money, for example, in my area, my own district, 2 billion shillings was given. And in my constituency, we got close to 628 million. This money was given to people. Parliament went on ground to make a report, make an investigation as how has this money impacted on the people? How has it been used? A report came out. To date, there has not been a follow-up on the findings of the report. Now here we are on board with the parish model. Actually, if you look into the whole concept, there is no difference. It's just a change of names. From Entandikwa parish model to something different. The only difference, he says, is it is at the parish level. We've been having sub-counties. Yes, he may say government is coming closer to the people. But, I mean, we've been close at sub-counties. We are asking, what have you put in place that is too new to change? He has talked about mindset change and sensitization, which I thought would be the first thing. We would ask ourselves, why did the Myoga fail? For them, they say they didn't fail, but I'm telling you as a person who's on ground, you can do a feasibility study, you can go on ground and make your own research to find out how did the Myoga impact the community. We still have these kind of thoughts in people.
Right.
Myoga, I mean, parish model, any money. Actually, government gives money as a revolving fund, and people are supposed to return the money. For all the monies that have been given to the community, how much of that has been returned back as a revolving fund? We can ask. Because he knows, as an economist, that we are trying to recover from the COVID effects as a country. So meaning that we don't have time at leisure to test anything new. If we are to test, we can pilot. We were in the Eastern. There is somebody who made a presentation, I think it was a student, who said, Mr. President, we've been ably trained. The ministry has been on ground, all the stakeholders, Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Finance, ICT, they've been there. Data has been collected. But you know the challenge we've been having in government programs, data collection. That's why you had money for the COVID money for Nabanja. You get a time of giving money, people money, that's the time you go to collect data. The boy said, we've been trained. Then I asked myself, if the Eastern region has been ably trained, the systems have been put in place, why don't we pilot first? Why don't we have this region as a pilot? Say that because the financial year, we have only 3 months to close the financial year.
Right.
We are close to the fourth quarter.
And that's a concern for me and for many, because even as the opposition gives its position on the parish development model and pointing out, some of, the weaknesses as you're doing, Parliament appropriated money for this financial year for the parish development model. If government was not ready, why did Parliament appropriate the money?
Actually, you've asked the right question. Yesterday, when we were debating the parish model, you had members of Parliament question, how did you go to launch? You've issued guidelines without the approval of Parliament? They asked the minister. The minister then said, no, we are yet to come to Parliament. Then we asked what comes first. Because as you may observe, we have that money is the president was talking about 17 million, which is close to 400 billion something. But do we have the 400 billion? In the second budget called Circular, it is 200 billion. 200 billion.
But they came to Parliament for a supplementary, didn't they?
No, but yes. They came for a supplementary. Ask them if money was appropriated. You saw the Honorable Minister today. He was actually, we asked him, ministries were complaining that ever since the supplementary was passed, money has never been released. Himself, he said, we were not sure of the source of funding. We made a mistake not to bring a source of funding before making a request for the parish model money and the others for the supplementary. So we cannot say that Parliament did not appropriate. Parliament in the supplementary budget actually appropriated that 200 million, the first batch. But the release of the money has not yet been effected. And remember, the other one was a planning process. When you get the money, begin on the processes. He has said they recruited the parish chiefs, which was done. Then what next? When do you update Parliament about a government program? Then we also questioned, because Parliament was not in for cancelling all the other programs, the WEP, the youth livelihood, the UCDA money, all that was scrapped off. Consolidate all that money in one pool to have the parish model. Then we asked, if you are to cancel all those, is government at leisure to initiate and close the project at any time it wants? All right. I can give you an example of the UCDA money. When government makes a plan, it gives direction for people to invest. People invested money in nursery beds, a lot of money, thinking that UCDA would buy the coffee seedlings. To now he may say, coffee is part of the profile, is part of the products that we are the seedlings. But I'm telling you, it will be at the discretion of the farmer to make choice.
Okay. Honorable,
yes?
You've raised a number of issues. I'm sure Mr. Chilianyang would like to respond to them, at least as far as you're able to.
Yes, thank you, Honorable. Those are really pertinent issues that you've raised. First of all, my appreciation that the opposition and the government actually support the PDM, because for us that is important as a ministry. PDM is our baby, so we like it very much to succeed. Now, let me start from why agriculture, because Honorable says that it's a risky venture. The reason we are not saying PDM should be restricted to agriculture per se, but we are saying because 80% of our population are actually engaged in agriculture. So especially the people we are targeting, the subsistence people, they're actually in agriculture. So we've come up with a number of commodity enterprises. Most of them are agricultural enterprises, like dairy, like poultry, like coffee, and so on. Because most of the farmers who are in subsistence are actually doing this. And that's why you see there's more focus on extension services like veterinary services, like agriculture, to be able to support the farmers at the parishes, to be able to increase production and also the quality of the product. So it's majorly because this is the population we are supporting, and they're basically doing agriculture.
So what happens to the other programs that were focusing on people outside of the agriculture sector?
Well, you see, there is a value chain. For example, I will tell you, agriculture doesn't stop at growing the crops and harvesting. It goes to processing. So you have some small-scale industries there. Mm. It goes into
but that is still along the agricultural value chain.
Yes, it is, because our country is agricultural. You will accept with me that 80% of our people are doing this. And why invest in a different area where our people are not engaged in?
I think the question here is why limit it to agriculture?
We are actually not limiting it, but we are saying there's a value chain. Even service, you can provide a service in agriculture. Even manufacturing, you can provide manufacturing in agriculture. Whatever you can do, you can provide it in the value chain. So it's actually open. The idea now is we have 18 commodity enterprises where people will be investing, and most of them agriculture. So this is the idea. The second point was Entandikwa, Emyoga, and PDM, what's the difference?
And the names can go on and on
yes,
and on. Bonaba Gagaware, and you know.
Yes, all I would say is as the ministry, we are implementing the parish development model. Emyoga had its own principles, and you remember it's for myogas, talents, people who are in the same business, like vocation. You find tailors, you find carpenters, and so they were given support. Government gave them support to be able to improve their incomes and their livelihoods by economies of working together. So that one has its own target, and it was run by the Ministry of Finance, and they will tell you it has had successes. But I'll speak for PDM. PDM goes beyond just the funding. And I will tie it with the point of saying, is the problem capital this time? No. Actually, our problem is production. The financing, the capital we're talking about, is just to support production. We are saying, are you failing to cultivate another second acre or third acre of land because you don't have money to pay for a tractor to come and dig it, or because you don't have money to buy seedlings? We are saying, okay, look, we are going to put some money in the parish. You can borrow it. If you're strong enough and you don't need it, please go ahead. But if there are those who will need that support, we are saying, okay, if you need the support, please apply to the parish circle. It's run like a business, like a business by the community. It's formed by themselves. They know themselves. They know who is going to pay, who is not going to pay. Yeah? You know, there are people who, when they get money, they marry another wife. They get money, they go to the bar. And
those are problems we're already seeing, because
exactly.
when my colleagues in the media did interview some of the people in the district where this was launched, you know, people were excited. People were saying, yes, we've had issues of paying school fees, we are going to pay school fees. And yet this is far from what, this parish development model is meant to be achieving.
And Gabriel, that's the point. That's why we are doing mindset change. We are saying this money is a loan to be paid back. It's supposed to revolve in the community. is going to be managed by the community themselves. It's not central
But
government.
this sounds like a
It's not
problem
central
we've
government.
had before, where at the technical level, you say, or the center, you say, we're giving you a loan. On the ground, people believe they're receiving a grant. People believe they're receiving a thank you from government.
And that's why we're on TV, and we shall continue doing this sensitization across board.
Okay.
What we are saying is money is going to move directly from the treasury to the SACCO. And the SACCO, the signatories to this account are going to be the community themselves. They would have selected themselves, and their peers, they know how to manage themselves.
Okay.
And so central government is not part of management of that money.
Honorable, the people are the ones going to manage this money. The parish chief will take lead. Are the people on the ground ready to manage this money?
At times, I don't want to mention that at times government disappoints its own people. People want to learn, and they are ready to learn. I asked my colleague, 80 billion, next financial year's budget, 80 billion to be invested in mindset change and sensitization. I've asked him what comes first. He's telling us about, because they are going to form parish model circles. I can give you an example. Renzori Rural Triangle is giving out some money to groups that are well prepared. I sent my LCC chairperson to the ground to get me those groups that are ready with proposals. Do you know what happened? People could not even don't know how to write the simplest, getting organized. Yes, they registered, but when you tell them to take the next step, they cannot. When it comes to saving, people don't know what to do. How do you work together? I can give him an example. Many groups have always scattered. This year you have Namga and the others in the same group, because those are the groups that form circles. Actually, I've been talking with the Honorable Minister Aruna Kasol. I've written a letter to him that before the parish model drops into my constituency, let me get people from Microfinance Support Center to start those financial literacy programs, such that, because they've already rolled out the program, they've not come on ground. He's telling you about the trainee. I'm a member of parliament. When do I come on board for such a program? When do you bring me on board? Yes.
Well,
when do you
part
bring
of
me
the
on board?
discussion in parliament yesterday, MPs seemed to insist that they wanted a more active, more central role. But to do what exactly?
No, and you've ably heard what I've said, that I've taken on a role, because people don't know what the responsibility of leaders. I'm close to people than him. I can get feedback than him. We don't want to hold money, but we want to have value for the money invested in people. Government has heavily lost. I've told you, when it comes to revolving money, government has failed on that. Actually, I was even wondering, why do you then risk putting our money back to the people? The MPs are saying, please involve us. Our role is oversight. When do you want me to do oversight? It will be like Emioga. The project, towards the tail end of the project, you tell the MPs to go on ground to do post-mortem. So that's why we are saying, let's appreciate the concept of the parish model. That said, that when I go to the constituents, on burials, in church, every activity, every time I get an opportunity, I should be able to talk to the people. We are their leaders. Two, the reason as to why other programs have been failing is these programs are in the hands of a few. Government does not have money to reach everyone. You can ask them at the parish level. You only have the parish chief. How many leaders do you have? He will tell you they are going to form committees. These are just going to be trained afresh. So meaning the time they come on board, there must have been somebody knowledgeable enough who are telling them, how do you leave religious leaders outside of this? Why do you leave them out? Because every time somebody goes to church...
Let's find out who is being involved, even before you answer the question around the circles.
So
yes.
maybe it's important for me to answer them. First of all, the oversight role of
the members of
parliament is a very important role, and we appreciate it. And so they do it in very many ways. One of them is they should be able to invite the ministry to come and explain to them what's happening. As I speak this morning, we were before the Committee of Public Service and Local Governments, explaining how far we have gone with the PDM and the plans that we have. And this is one of the oversight roles that Parliament does.
Yes, but this is here at the center.
At the center,
MPs
going
want
forward, and
a
I'm going
greater
there.
role on the ground.
I'm going there. In the guidelines that we have issued, the members of Parliament have a clear role, which is to make sure that there is monitoring of the PDM in their constituencies. They should be able to know how PDM is being implemented. Are the circles actually lending out the money? Are they lending to the right people? Are the people paying back? What are the red flags that should be raised? And they bring it up and can be handled at the national level. So we appreciate the role of the members of Parliament, and we have provided for it in the guidelines. And they have the right to summon the ministry to come and explain whatever is happening with the PDM at any time.
All right.
Yes.
Before you leave that, and I know there's more questions for you to respond to, since you're speaking about the guidelines, these guidelines did not come to Parliament. These guidelines are already being used. The MPs did not look over these guidelines. Therefore, it seems like it is, for a Ministry of Local Government's thing.
Well, the guidelines are basically to give an idea of, a direction of how the PDM will be implemented. And so the most important thing in the guidelines, I would say, is to set out the roles of the different stakeholders. The roles of the members of Parliament is clear. It's the oversight, and it's also dealt with in the guidelines. The role of the parish chief, the role of the local political leaders, they're all set out in the guidelines. So I would say the guidelines are majorly setting out the roles of the different stakeholders in the implementation of the parish.
Mr. Chilean Young, I have the guidelines here, and I'm trying to find, where the role of the members of Parliament is actually stipulated. Because, the ones here, I see the Secretariat, I see the policy committees, I see the local government and cities, I see the parish ward. I'm not sure I see the part where, members of Parliament are given an active role in the guidelines.
Well, but the role of the members of Parliament is clear, Gabriel. It's oversight, and it is in the guidelines. I'm certain it's there. It's just that I can't get hold of it at this time, but we know the role of the members of Parliament. But also we have clearly indicated the roles of other people, including the non-state actors. The NGOs have a role. The development partners have a role. So the guidelines actually state roles of all the stakeholders. And as you know, it's not cast in stone. Guidelines are not cast in stone. This is a living document. So when there is need to review it, we discuss, and if Parliament guides, we can always review them.
Parliament has already taken issue with these guidelines, not coming to Parliament, already being used without, their scrutiny. Is the ministry planning to bring the guidelines to Parliament for Parliament to actually go through, approve them, and then the ministry can use? Because they're going to hold you to account based on some of these documents.
There's a misconception that these guidelines did not come to Parliament. But I'll tell you...
or was it when the opposition members were not attending? Because there was a period when they decided that they will stay outside of Parliament.
I'll tell you, Gabriel, right at the conception of parish development model, and I think this is around January 2021, we started going to Parliament and giving the concept papers to members of Parliament, which culminated later to their approval of the parish development, the budget of the parish development model, the 200 billion that you've been talking about. Even much later, Parliament, our minister, the Minister of Local Government, has been to Parliament probably 3 or 4 times already to present papers on the progress report on the parish development model. So some of these interactions and the feedback that has been coming from the committee members and from the main house has been the input that has gone into these guidelines. So there are very many ways of collecting ideas for the guidelines. So this we did. And even when we are asking for the supplementary of the 63 billion, we came and gave an update to Parliament on what we are doing, and they still gave us input, and we have included it in the guidelines. So there shouldn't be a misconception that we we overlooked Parliament. No, we respect Parliament, we know their role, and we always account to them, and we give them update, and we take their feedback very seriously.
All right, Honorable, you have heard that, the role of Parliament is taken seriously. Now that we find ourselves where we are, are there demands that Parliament has that will help align? Because as it doesn't look like there's going back on this. This is a decision that has been made. Money has been appropriated. There are plans to appropriate much more so that each parish can get 100 million shillings in the next financial year. So what needs to be done to align so that money is not lost?
Actually, my colleague has explained a few of these issues. But when you look at agriculture, I mentioned that agriculture is one of the risky ventures. Why? Unstable prices. When we look into issues
can
of
it
productivity,
be argued that if they empower the farmer from the issue of inputs to advise extension services on when they plant, how they look after their whatevers, when they harvest, how they handle, because we lose a lot at post-harvest handling, and then seeking markets collectively. Does this deal with the issue of the volatility of the sector?
In your own wisdom, if you've ever invested into agriculture, you know that agriculture has a life cycle. It doesn't actually, for example, if I may give you an example of a tomato garden. It runs for 3 months. He has given out the money to this person who has not yet been trained. We've been having tomatoes floating on market. Now what is going to create a market within these 3 months only? We are having counterfeit products on market in terms of fertilizers, pesticides, and farmers have been complaining. What are you going to do in the short run? 3, he ably knows that when it comes to agricultural products, you cannot access the external market when we are still using, you call them the artificial fertilizers? We want to go natural. Is it called bio? Something like that. Now, what have you taken the farmers through an intensive training? Agriculture is not like a shop. You will give him money today and he opens up a shop.
Let's just hear from Mr. Chilanya
Yes.
on the volatility and the risk.
The risk in agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, Gabriel, you started, you helped me talking about the extension workers. Extension workers will be able to go to the farmers and explain to them on the practices that will help them to make sure they have a good harvest. But most importantly, you shouldn't worry about the money because the guidelines for the financial inclusion pillar require that there's flexibility on the repayment period. If you have a crop that takes 4 or 5 months to mature, there's going to be a consideration on giving you the money and wanting it after you've sold the product. So there's a good amount of flexibility in the guidelines. She was talking about her constituency and when the PDM comes in our constituency. First of all, I would like to say nobody wants to wait for other people to pilot and they wait to get the money late. Everybody would like to be the first to be able to pilot.
But isn't it a risk?
No, it's not.
Isn't it a risk worth taking? Let's go slow. Let's try it out in a few places that seem to be more organized and learn from that so that we can cascade.
The point is this. We are going to do the training. We have institutions like Enterprise Uganda who are going to be moving and training farmers in the business development of their enterprises. So we are certain that this definitely is going to help in making sure that the population knows how to invest these funds. So the rollout was because we needed the whole country needed to actually move forward.
All right.
Yes.
And well, there are other questions that she raised. And
if I may give him information, my colleague Eblin knows that extension workers are not new employees in a government structure. We've been having them. We've been having extension workers. Actually, we've even been having the parish chiefs. It is save for a few districts. parish chiefs
There are
have
actually
been...
many that did
Yes.
have, more than 5,000
No,
did not
no,
have.
many didn't have, but I'm telling you, parish chiefs, extension workers, agriculture extension workers have been part of the structure of government. Where have they
Gabriel.
been when farmers have been suffering? So this is not a new venture. They have been on ground, and where's the problem? You know, you may tell you that
Gabriel.
because it is a parish, I will give you time, because it is a parish development model, you will want to convince us that this time around you will make them work more than they've been working. But they've been there. We have agriculture extension workers at districts and sub-county levels. You will tell me that they are coming at the parish level. My question is, can you convince the people of Uganda that having rolled out this program and in the shortest period possible, you will be in Maogola Matete to have somebody prepared to use money, because we have seasons. We have a few months to the season. No, we have a few months to the season. You want to convince me that in the next, because we are taking maize to the people to start planting. In the next 2 weeks, we are going to start. We've already plowed. We are starting to plant.
MPs are taking maize?
Yes, we give people maize.
Oh wait, I thought you said you're not involved in the process.
No, this is not PDM. No, this is not PDM. It is a different arrangement. But I want, you know, it's not all about, we are all part of government. When you become a member of parliament, I'm part of government because it is government that pays me. So it is incumbent upon me to ensure that we
one
don't
of the arms
waste,
of government.
Yes, we don't waste the taxpayers' money.
Maybe I should answer, because
yes, just
I might forget some of the questions. First of all, we have a pillar for that. We have a pillar for ensuring that PDM is supervised and monitored across the country. The pillar is called Governance and Administration Pillar. So this, what is going to happen under this pillar is,
who's giving
we
this
have the chief
supervision? Is it the
administrative
parish?
officers.
Okay.
We have the chief administrative officers in every district who has his machinery. He has a district commercial officer, he has a district production officer, he has a planner, he has a district community development officer. These people have a role. They have to make sure that, first of all, sub-county chiefs are supervising the parish chiefs, and that they're supervising the extension workers. She says that we've been having extension
yes, the
workers.
honorable,
She's
the
right.
honorable
She's
MP
right.
says, you know, we've had these
Yes.
structures. These structures have not been effective.
That is true,
especially for other projects. What's going to make them effective?
And that's why you have PDM now, because PDM comes with a pillar strong on supervision and monitoring. Those sub-county chiefs should make sure that the parish chiefs are working. They should make sure that the extension workers are working. And if there's any problem, we have a mechanism where the information can come upstairs up to the national level, and we can be able to take decisions.
You're going to receive information from 10,594 parishes.
And we have a pillar for that.
How are you going to aggregate,
Yes.
go through all this information and respond appropriately? Because each parish is most likely going to be unique.
We have a system. We have.
Is the system already in place?
Yes, we are. Actually, it's good to go. It's good to go. We have a system where parish chiefs are able to punch in reports at their location. They should be able to punch it.
Parish chiefs
reports.
are going to be asked
Yes.
to do reports?
Yes, because these parish
You
chiefs are
decided,
qualified.
you decided to go with diploma holders.
Yes, they are
Some
qualified.
of these will
They
be
can do
seeing
this.
computers for the first time.
Diploma holders don't know computers.
Even
Gabriel,
even
really?
people with degrees
they are-
struggle with computers.
But do you know that even a smartphone?
You should see how
Do you know that even that system can work?
at the risk of sounding like I am, you know, you should see our MPs with the iPads, you know, and these are, you know, the senior six. Some of them have degrees.
Yeah, but my belief, and I think it's common sense, that if you have a diploma, you should be able to use a phone.
You're going to have
because,
to train quite a bit on
the iPad. The device is almost works like a phone. So if you can use a phone, you can be able to use the device. And so the reports are going to come through across at all levels. The sub-county will have visibility on what the parish chief is doing. The district, the cow will have visibility on what's happening in the sub-county. And at the national level, we can have a dashboard viewing and making sure that we monitor the program across the country.
All right.
Yes.
Well, you interact, you have said more than once that, you know, you're closer to the people on the ground. The parish chiefs, you know, are they equipped enough to actually monitor such an important project?
Before even we go to the parish chief, he has told you that we've allocated money for the new administrative units. And to date, most of them are not functional. They've not yet started functioning, but the money is going to go. I have one sub-county, it is called Mitete sub-county. It is not functional, the whole sub-county, with inclusive of the parish chief. So, you know, when you look at Cyprian, I compare the, you know, you've been saying, telling us about the ICT and these others. Government rolled over the IFMIS system as a way of improving finances and reporting that, you know, the local purchase orders were delayed. I mean, people were not being paid on time. So we roll out the IFMIS so that we can improve efficiency and effectiveness of managing government programs and, you know, other business. And he has told you that the cows will be supervising. He knows in local governments, performance of government agencies has been a problem. Reason, they complain of payment, low pay, inadequate facilitation. You get to the district, I don't know whether in his new program as a parish model, he has means of transport. He may have transport for the parish chief, but what of other stakeholders in the system? You know, when you look at a local government, and I'm surprised Cyprian is very happy.
Is transport really necessary if what you're supervising is a parish? How big can a parish be?
Oh, wow, he can explain. He can explain. Let me tell you, a parish has close to 19 villages, scattered, camped villages. You know, don't look at parishes of Kampala where you can move around and, you know, complete a parish. You come to my area where you have a parish of 19 villages, well, very scattered, 19 villages a parish. So you cannot make a parish chief move without either motorcycle. Actually, you cannot buy a bicycle. The least you can have is a motorcycle.
There seems to be a plan for that, but let's hear from him because we need to take a break. We need to take a break, so let him respond to that, and then
yes.
The parish really is not really as large as to require a motor vehicle to move around the parish.
I talked of a motorcycle.
Yes, and government is providing motorcycles and bicycles for the local leaders. And if you, what you should know is the LC2 chairman who is going to receive is the chairperson of the parish development committee.
Which is the source of funding for that, for the motorcycles?
It was appropriated by Parliament.
Which because
I've also found
yes,
I've also found that Parliament and a lot of the debate has focused on the financial pillar. But there is money appropriated under the parish development model for the other pillars and for supporting the work that will be done. Let me put this clearly.
People are looking at only the financial inclusion pillar money,
yes,
which is the 100 million per parish. But the money, for example, 17. I'm talking about the bicycles and the motorcycles, is not part of the PDM budget per se, which you had to approve. This is money which is already in the different MDAs. But because government is moving to the parish and PDM as a whole, so the different ministries and departments come with those budgets and implement their mandate, but having a focus and an intersection on PDM. So the money I'm talking about is not really part of the PDM that you approved the other day. You mentioned about the new administrative units, and I think it's very important for me to respond because again, Parliament actually appropriated this money as a supplementary. The money has already been allocated to local government. Why a district? Why a sub-county?
I think our issue is on the functionality, because you appropriate money to a unit that is not functional.
No, but the money was to make it operational, and
then
so
are they operational?
we're in the process. I mean, probably there are delays in some local governments in doing it, but money was appropriated, and the local governments are doing the needful, which requires, first of all, recruitment of the sub-county chiefs, recruitment of all the staff that you need in the sub-county, and probably also the extension workers, all these people. So this is what we call operationalizing of those.
Can I chip in a
units.
bit?
Very briefly,
Very
because
briefly.
we have to go for a
But
break.
I haven't finished.
Could you just chip in on that one? And
Okay.
when we come back from the break, you will respond to some of the other questions.
No,
that
I
you
was looking
raised.
at the breakdown because they said they have transport. When you look at the 200 million that has been appropriated for this financial year, it is 200 million, 126 million. is
200
for-
billion.
Sorry, 200 billion. 126 billion is for the revolving fund, 29 billion for staff and salaries, 17 billion administrative costs, 26 billion ICT and computers, and actually it is computers and ICT. So I was wondering because
Where's the one for the transport?
Yes, I was asking where is the one for the transport. Then he said, actually, we will
He
need to
says
tell
it's
us.
in the other
No,
MDAs.
where he will need to tell us that where are they going to get that money. He will tell us because you cannot. If it's local government that is going to buy, he should tell us that we have money in the local government budget for motorcycles as local government. We
Does
should
the
know.
ministry have the money for
Gabriel,
this transport?
this was appropriated, I think, last year, and the motorcycles have been bought and they will be supplied.
Was it the ministry of local
Yes, the
governments
Ministry of
that-
Local Government.
When do we expect to receive those? So that I can follow up.
There is a program that's being,
Honorable,
they're being distributed.
I think you'll be
and I'm
interested,
sure you should have
I
seen
think
this
you'll
on
be
TV.
interested in the color of the motorcycle. I hope the motorcycle is not going to be yellow or something.
Not the color.
You
but
might want a red one.
We are so anxious
All right.
in
Yeah.
seeing what is calling. Is telling you that we are entering a money economy.
Yes.
Using the parish model, don't forget that.
Yes.
So we are looking at this game changer with a keen eye.
All
Very
right.
considerate.
As we continue looking at the game
your
changer,
support, Honorable.
we need to take a break at this point, but after the break, we will continue the discussion. But please send in your views. Use the hashtag SEETV Big Debate so that we can put your views and your comments to our guests. Please don't blink. We return in a few minutes.
As we embark on a journey to realize our full potential, we all need expanded minds and limitless possibilities. We need to be accurately informed. SEETV is your growth partner. With reliable, in-depth news, we tell the story from all perspectives. We bring you the story in real time. Catch our comprehensive daily bulletins in Juba Egolovie at 7 p.m. and PM edition at 9 p.m. SEETV, don't blink.
We entertain you nga bwe tukuwata amannya shamimanja omubwatu president 2026 akabonero kooti
nange bwentyo naliya nafuka ikankomya aliya wani bwe tutikutema olwaleero
naye tubasuubiza ntitugenda kubanga tuli mu bitundu ebyenjawulo
ani yayambadde obulungi kakoye ki akazze ku mulembe ne gawuni ya black erina tiara ya black
kyala
tiara english of my kind tiara
I feel the bit.
you feel the beat
Yeah.
olwokuba bakuta ekigendo oba ofiringa the beat show bagiyita situations for ground this is a buffet kyoyagala kyolyako
Beerako ku SEETV totemya.
don't blink
Now showing on SEETV. Don't blink. Since 1963, this shirt has united fans and players across the country. It is more than just an article of clothing. It is a sense of pride for us as we catch the kinetic action. In the heat of the competition, we stand with our champion. This shirt brings us together. SEETV becomes the principal shirt partner for KCCA FC. We are committed to the game, to bridge the gap and bring you closer to the awesome team you love. KCCA FC, more than just a club. SEETV, Don't blink.
Welcome back from the break. Thank you for staying with us here on the Big Debate on SEETV. I'm your host, Iguma Gabriel. Today we're looking at the parish development model, a model that government has come up with to especially take those in subsistence out of subsistence into the money economy. The project was officially launched by the President just last weekend, the 26th of February 2022. Many issues still stay pending, but the Ministry of Local Government says, you know, many of these have been catered for and we are on the right track. We need all stakeholders to come on board, including Parliament, in order for this to be successful. Well, this money will be sent to the 10,594 parishes, and parish chiefs have been already recruited in order to monitor this money. Our two guests, the Honorable Goreti Namuga, she's Mawogola South Member of Parliament. She's also the Shadow Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation. Our other guest, Mr. Cyprian Chilanyang, he's Commissioner Policy and Planning, Ministry of Local Government. You are a very important part of the discussion, so send in your views. If you're using social media, remember our hashtag is SEETV Big Debate. We'd like to hear your views on the parish development model. And do you think it will actually work? Are you excited to receive these funds in order to get you into the money economy, or those in your village into the money economy? Before we went for the break, Mr. Chilanyang, one of the issues that was raised earlier on is the fact that this is a revolving fund, which basically means those who borrow the money have got to pay it back so that it's available for other people to borrow. Our history with revolving funds has not been a very good history. Have you learned from that history to ensure that this money does not disappear?
Thank you, Gabriel. It's something that we've considered in developing and designing the parish development model. So it's good that, first of all, we're very clear that this is a loan and it's going to revolve in the community. So it means that the money is going to stay in the community. And the people who are managing this money are the community leaders, the community themselves, not actually the leaders, but the businessmen themselves. The idea is that because they know each other, because they come from the same area and they do the same business or similar businesses, they have a relationship. They have respect for each other. They have a peer kind of, how do I call it? Peer responsibility to each other. I think you've heard of the Pride Finance, microfinance model, where people come together and they borrow money and then they lend each other, and if one of them doesn't pay, the whole group suffers. This is exactly the same idea.
Forcing you to be your brother's keeper.
Exactly. But then in this case, it has to be voluntary, because all we are saying is you nominate yourselves people who are going to be part of the circle. And
because if the money is not paid back, it won't be there for you to borrow.
It won't be there for the community. So this is your money as a community. You have to guard it jealously, because if in my parish I'm able to keep our money and it's growing and everybody's benefiting, we are better. And for you, if you're not having a keen eye on your money, you lose it.
Mr. Chilanyang, do we have a history of people looking at government money as their money? Because almost every time government has given money, the attitude to that money and the intention to pay back, yes, the person will take it saying, yes, I'm taking a loan. A time for paying, well, they will come up with all kinds of reasons.
Gabriel, I told you we're doing a sensitization program across the country. The idea is people should know that this money belongs to them. once they know that it is their money and not government money, that this money has moved from the center to our parish, and we have to look after it, because if this man does not pay back, I will not be able to get the loan. It's a revolving loan. Today you get it, tomorrow I get it, the next day Honorable gets it. And so if you don't pay back, Honorable, the money will not reach the Honorable. So you, Honorable, will be keen in making sure that this money is being repaid. That is basically the concept, and that's the model.
All right. Honorable, on revolving funds, yes, you did go around to make sure to monitor Emyoga, and you found, the difficulties that were there. This being a government program, how are you supporting to make sure that for some of these things that have not been strengthened, that they're actually strengthened? Because Parliament does give oversight.
Before I go to that, Cyprian will need to tell us why we had to consolidate monies of other wealth creation programs, the WEP, the YLP, and the others. Why did we have to consolidate them? If he is really very convinced that the revolving fund can always work for government.
I can answer that straight.
Two,
Yes, let him answer it straight away, then we'll come to you for the second.
First of all, the budget of UWEP, let me take the Women Empowerment Program, was probably around 28 billion or something. I don't have the real figure. But you see what is going to happen in the parish development model is you're having 100 million per parish. You have 10,594 parishes. You talk about 1.1 trillion in 1 year. And 30% of that money is going to be targeting women. So women will be 30% of the 100 million that goes to every parish should be.
That starts in July.
Should be ring-fenced.
That starts in July of this year. What
Yes.
of right now when it's only 17 million shillings per parish?
Well, this year, still, the idea is in every parish, out of the revolving fund, out of the money that goes there, whether it's 17 million, whether it's 100 million, 30% will go to finance women enterprises. 30% is going to go to the youth. 10% is going to go to people with disability. 10% is going to go to the elderly. And the balance is going to go to the men. So you can see 30% of 1.1 trillion is over 300 billion. So you actually have more than 10 times the amount of money that you had under that program. And then even to make it even better, it's across the country, and you decide which woman gets in the community. It's no longer the center that decides that we give this one, we give. It is going to be decided in the community. You sit in the meeting and you decide to say, let's give this madam this time, then next time we give another madam. So these are all benefits of PDM over these other programs.
Honorable, you had another concern.
Back to the revolving fund. He ably knows that according to the Auditor General's report of the financial year 2019-20.
2019-2020, yes.
The Auditor General indicated that the rate of revolving the monies in these programs was very low, and for UWEP it was 30%, and YLP it was close to 18%. It was the worst performing. We have so many cases at police and in court because the ministry itself gave a directive that people should be prosecuted. We have so many of those cases still pending. So that is why I'm telling Cyprian that something needs to be done in as far as revolving this fund is concerned. Two, when you go to, for example, if Maogola had 30 million under WEP, or Emyoga, and we've recovered some money, when is that money reflected as an increment for Maogola? Because...
What do you mean as an increment?
No, if, for example, if I received 30 million and a group takes money, a circle takes money, and it pays back, they pay with interest, isn't it? Meaning that the capital must grow. Our capital must grow. So if we had 30 million, there must be an assumption that, say, end of the year, if we put in effort to recover the money, we shall have an increment, say, of 5 million.
Yes.
Or any increment. But I'm telling you, you should, Cyprian, make a research in local governments. Money has been the same throughout. As appropriated by the central government.
Actually, available money has been less than what
and
was
actually
given.
what I had...
Honorable is talking about UWEP.
Yes.
Okay, and
As an
youth
example,
livelihood.
because
As an example.
we should learn from
Because
the
their
programs that
model-
government has tried to
Their model
implement.
was in such a way that the center lends money to women down in the local governments, and then they recover. And so that becomes part of the fund. But this time, government is making a transfer. Government is giving a grant to parishes, but the parishes will lend to beneficiaries. So the money stays in the parish.
All right, let's talk a bit about this money. Where does the money actually go? Who is the money wired to?
The money is wired to the PDM circle. The PDM circle is a special vehicle, purpose vehicle. It's not a common circle. So this PDM circle has
Do we have these circles?
Yes, they are
In
being
every
registered.
parish?
No, okay, not in
yet.
every parish. They are being registered. And as I told you, registration of the circle is also a process because it's the community to select who is going to be in the
Don't
circle.
we have a problem here? The circles through which the money is going to be sent are still being registered.
Yes.
But the money is already going.
No, the money has not yet gone.
Cyprian, if I may ask, as I told you, we are 3 months to ending the financial year. And you know that this money must be consumed.
Just for the clarity of the viewer,
Within the financial
year ends
yes.
in June.
It ends in
and
June.
This is, we talk about the financial year where there's 200 billion for the, financial, inclusion pillar. But in the next one, it's going to be 100 million. And that's the money that Cyprian has been referring to, right?
Gabriel, we don't need a lot of time to be able to set up these circles. Let me tell you, the circles
Do you
are
remember
going to be registered at the district. They're not going to be registered at the center. The district commercial officer will take the responsibility to register the circles. Every district has a commercial officer. So they don't need 3 months, they don't need a month, they,
All right.
they probably
Then,
don't
okay.
need weeks to
then
do
the
this.
circle will have to open an account, right?
Yes.
And it is this account where the money will be sent.
And we have had negotiations, engagements with banks, all the banks, most of the commercial banks in the country, and we are agreeing on the details on how to support
And that's where
the
now,
PDM.
and that's where another of our problems comes in. Honorable, are there
yes,
enough
I had-
bank branches?
Every
in your-
intervention, Gabriel, every intervention has challenges.
Because setting
But
up a
the
bank
most important
branch
thing, Gabriel, is to be able
in
to
Maogola.
have a solution.
Yes.
There's nothing that you will do that
Now
will not have a
imagine we
challenge.
think about my constituency.
Cyprian,
Yes.
considering the financial constraints that this government is going through, because you ably know that the national cake is too limited, and the government is doing whatever it can to ensure that we improve efficiency and effectiveness in government departments and agencies. Would it be too late for you to use these 3 months to the end of the financial to have preparations
But
on
Honorable,
ground?
you already gave
such
them the
that-
money.
No,
So
let
you
me.
want the money to
no,
stay unused?
Gabriel, Cyprian knows that this money was given to them in around, it was December, when the supplementary was requested for. Actually, not December, it was around November. That was 6 months to the close of the financial year. To date, this is March. The money has not been wired because the circles are not there. They are not there. I'm asking, as planners, he knows that when money is taken to wherever it is taken and it is not consumed, if it is not absorbed, it must be, taken back to the
Returned.
consolidated fund. It
Gabriel,
must be.
Gabriel,
Do we
I
have?
can
He has
offer-
told us that we have
I
the
can offer an
consumption. We
answer
have
straight
the.
away. I told you at the break that, and I was also telling Honorable, she was following, that this is the first time that government is planning to send funds down to the parish. And I'm talking about the whole parish, not individuals in the parish. And we're talking about 17 million this year, 100 million next year, and probably 100 million the next year for the foreseeable future. This is not a project which is planned to end in 5 years or so. It is planned to move for as long as possible until the time when it becomes unnecessary to continue supporting the parish. So
When our people have joined the money economy.
Yes, so my question is, why would you not want to give the people this money in this year if we can be able to achieve our milestones in time. Because I told you, the PDM circles, the community development officer does this within a short time. They should be able to do this, and the money should be able to go.
I've had some arguments where people are saying, well, we're going to give 100 million in the next financial year. That's 2022, 2023. You've been asking for piloting. Can this one, the 17 million, which is a fraction of 100 million, be looked at as we are piloting, we are trying, you know, if there are losses, they are not as big, so that when the 100 million comes, the structures are there, the groups are formed, the monitoring is there, everybody knows their role. Because again, he did mention that if you decided to pilot, who do you pilot with and who do you leave out? When you leave out, how do you now start to, you know, tell people one of the pillars is inclusion, and yet you excluded?
Gabriel, we've had programs run in different parts of the country, not everywhere. We are saying, are we ready to lose all that sum of money because we cannot wait? I may give him an example. He's going to give each parish a computer. Is he aware that there are those areas in some districts where there is no electricity? And the government does not have a program of giving power to those areas?
Maybe this pillar on infrastructure.
Do you have
Gabriel,
money?
yeah, just. And that's why we're saying PDM is superior to most of these programs. The whole of government is going to the parish. If we identify that a certain district, sub-county or parish has challenges with electricity, has challenges with internet connection, this is something that should be taken up by the ministry in charge of energy and the ministry in charge of ICT. And then they will work out a program to make sure that this is done.
Budgets to that effect are needed. And you know, again, she did mention there is already a lot of strain on the national pass.
Well, we're talking about resources that are already in those ministries.
Spian,
the most
can you
important
accept
thing I think what we should be talking about is prioritization.
Okay.
Prioritization, because probably you had planned to put a road on in this road, but because there's an urgent need for PDM on this one, you may need to prioritize.
Can I give you information a little?
Once you give that information, we'll have to move to something else because we're going to run out of time.
I'm part of the budget committee. When they submitted
Parliament's
the first,
budget committee.
Yes, when they submitted the first call circular, we had unfunded we had unfunded programs, but we are too critical of
we call them unfunded priorities.
Unfunded priorities of over 6 trillion. The current second budget call circular has shifted from 43 to 45 trillion, meaning they've added 1.5 trillion. As I tell you, as of now, REA has not been given additional money to have these, you know, poles have been put everywhere, and they are
being the rural electrification agency.
The rural electrification agency, and wires are not there. We asked them, why can't we have money for REA fully, so that where poles are, that project, actually for completion of projects that were, you know, that were ongoing. I should inform him that we have a budget shortage. There are so many critical activities that have been left out because government does not have money. You cannot convince us that government will have the money to work on roads, government will have money to put electricity wherever we want. We should accept. We've rolled out the parish model prematurely. We want our people to receive money, but I'm telling you, we are going to suffer on ground. That's why I was saying.
Before the end of the show, the end of the show, I hope you can give your recommendations on,
I will.
Considering everything we've spoken about, how we move forward.
Yes,
yes, please.
Gabriel, there's never enough money. Even in our own homes, you have to prioritize.
Even you from ministry.
Everybody, you need to be able to prioritize. And so it's possible that we have a number of unfunded priorities. But the most important thing is to prioritize. For example, you'll find a place may have an issue of a bridge, and then another problem of maybe a hospital. So you decide which one to do first. And then depending on the priorities of that parish or of that sub-county. We have given the parishes the power to plan and make their own decisions. So they will see what matters most, and we will go with their plans. That is the idea.
All right. One thing that we've not spoken about is corruption that has dogged many of the government projects. In relation to the parish development model, what is being done to ensure that corruption, yes, may not be totally eliminated, but that it is limited so that these resources do what they're supposed to do?
Well, Gabriel, for me, I would say that corruption is an animal which has very many colors, I would say. But as government, corruption we're working on zero tolerance to corruption. So we have a pillar of governance and administration pillar, and this pillar is going to work on supervision and monitoring and what we call enforcement, making sure that people are actually doing the work. Under that pillar, we also have intelligence system of understanding what's going on. Let me just explain to you the principle at the beginning. Money is going to move from treasury straight away to the parish. By doing that, you've cut off a lot of hands, a lot of people. The first idea was to move money to the district, and then from the district goes to the sub-county, from the sub-county goes to the parish. So we took a decision that
shares would be taken off at each point.
To inbuild an effective mechanism which reduces corruption, let's move this money directly to the parish. Then number two, you know very well that government has a system, right from the top up to the end. We have Gombolola, we have GISOs, we have PISOs, we have DISOs and so on, we have RDCs, we have even the government mechanism itself, the civil service mechanism itself, where we're able to get information on what is going on. If we realize that in a certain parish, the circle, the money is being lent to only the wife and so on, this information we can pick it and we can take action on it. So we've inbuilt a mechanism in the design of the parish development model that tries to fight the corruption.
Honorable, on fighting corruption.
Good enough, Cyprian has mentioned the structures that have been in place. According to the Auditor General's report, we lost over 9 billion under corruption cases. And you may ask,
I think the figure is more than that. 9 billion?
It was by financial 1920, it was 9. We are yet to get the update. But at least let the viewer get an insight into how we've been how this country has suffered from corruption activities. The systems are the same. The DISOs have been there, the PISOs have been there. We have the same cows, we have the same everything. So when it comes to corruption, and let me tell you where the whole circus is on the issue of forming circles and groups. You will find groups that belong to the same people. You'll find a group that has Namuga and 3 children plus a few other people. You'll find another one, my uncle. These are human beings. And that is why we are telling them that these parish development circles. It is connivance. It is a curtail of so many events.
Let me put this in perspective. Let me put this in perspective.
Yes, you're going to, Honorable, what they've decided is that the money will not go to the district, to the sub-county, and then to the parish. It will go from the treasury to the parish. And in order for the treasury to send that money, there already has to be a SACCO. And the SACCO has got to have certain structures. The SACCO will not just appear. There will be some due diligence that happens. Therefore, government is not sending this money blindly.
Is there any structure of government that does not have a supervisor? Due diligence has been everywhere. Is there any structure of government in service that does not have a superior or a supervisor? I'm telling, for example.
Let me put this in perspective.
All right, yes, so that you give us the perspective.
Because when you talk about corruption in PDM, for us, it's something that we've really dealt with it. Money moves from central bank, from treasury, straight away to the SACCO. So the SACCO is manned by the private sector. You have, in the parish, you have the SACCO members. So basically, government corruption, in as far as that money is concerned,
don't you see a parish chief influencing the whole system?
Okay, that's
now the corruption could come from the private sector, from the community, when they receive this money. That is where corruption may come from.
But there's the parish chief. of which these parish chiefs, because you said, you know, the
Gabriel,
parish chiefs are being recruited in
parish
order
chief
to monitor
does not
this.
touch that money.
Some of them have already even started telling lies. You
Parish
remember,
chief.
if we could use the Youth Livelihood Fund as an example, you know, people were owning
Gabriel,
these
before
groups.
you go there, let me just give you information. The parish chief sits in the PDC, which is the government of
Yes.
the parish.
Yes.
They have no business with the SACCO.
No,
apart
yes.
from the oversight role.
Yes, then
So the money goes directly to the SACCO.
Are you saying
the
they
parish
can't-
chief is not a signatory?
You see,
they are not
yes,
part of this money.
but the people do not know this. The parish chief tells you, you know what, you people, if you're not willing to give me this amount of money, your group will never get money.
Gabriel, we're talking about
And people
corruption.
commit to it.
We're talking about corruption in government. And we are saying, for this time, not even the parish chief will have access to that money. The money moves from central government, from central bank, straight away to the SACCO. The parish chief who we have employed is to form a government in the parish to oversee the work of the PDC and all the activities of the parish development model in the parish. That is including planning for the parish and including being able to supervise any works that are there in the district. So there's not going to be corruption in as far as okay, we have controlled it in government, but maybe in the private sector, the SACCOs now may want to do corruption, but we have inbuilt structure. The structure is that we should be able to investigate this and flag it up and be able to take appropriate action.
Okay. Honorable?
You know, Cyprian is a public servant who is very reserved. He has a lot of reservation on giving information, but as a person in the political environment, I'm free to give any information. You know, when it comes to corruption,
Gabriel,
we've had
Cyprian has been very open with us, but he can't, unfortunately, he can't make political statements.
And have I made any political statement here? You know, we've had government systems. We are not having such, I mean, Cyprian, we've had programs of government, not for the first time. We've had these of, you know, I've told it's the change of names. We should accept that corruption as a tendency in this country is at its peak. What do you do as local government to ensure that...
So, Honorable, what should be done?
To ensure that this do not distort. I was telling him, involve stakeholders timely. Involve them. I've told him as a politician, you know, most of the time for them, they think that every government program should be politicized. No, good enough he has told you, politicians don't handle money. But I am aware that I can put people to task to answer for accountability for that money than what the local government can do. For him to follow on accountability of 10 million, he needs 2 million to go to the ground. So what we are saying, involve stakeholders timely. Use everybody available. You have the churches, tell them.
Gabriel,
you know, this thing of mindset change. Let me first submit.
When you talk about accountability.
If you could just finish this.
Can I submit, please? You know, the reason as to why these other programs have been failing is because you don't involve the relevant stakeholders.
All right. Accountability and involving.
When you talk about accountability.
And earlier on, she asked about involvement of, you know, religious leaders, and you didn't comment on that. I hope you can tie that in your response.
Straight away, our regional programs that we're going to be doing, now that we have launched the parish development model, the next step is to do regional workshops, and the people that will be targeting the regional workshops are the traditional leaders, the religious leaders, the local political leaders, and the business community. So we're going to tackle them in the next. That's our next step.
If I may ask a simple question,
I need to answer the question.
Accountability.
Of accountability. Okay.
And I'm going to answer it by describing how the parish model is going to work. Once the money is with the SACCO, and once the SACCO has decided who to lend the money to, that money becomes the property of the person, the beneficiary who has got the money. It's just like any other loan when you go to the bank. You can spend it in production. You can choose from which supplier you want to buy seeds. You can choose which tractor to plow for you. You can choose where to get your inputs. There's little that government should be doing following such a person, except to make sure that the money is being implemented in the purpose in which it was borrowed. The only problem comes in payback, That's now where accountability comes. Only at payback have they paid back the money that they have borrowed. Have they paid it, all of it back? And that is where the question is, oh, who have they given this money? Is it a relative of the chairman? Is it a relative of the members of the circle? But so that's why you have to differentiate between resources that go for government projects, which need accountability, from this one where we are supporting the community. We are supporting
what happens
people.
when you receive the money and you actually don't pay back?
Well, we have a mechanism. Of course, the idea is because you know each other, you should be able to pay back, and your
And all the times government, and all the times you've talked about knowing each other, you've used the positive light of it. There's also the negative light of it. You know each other, so you distribute the money amongst yourselves, and you're all happy.
Yes, in the manual, we have manuals that support the guidelines. Every pillar has manuals which stipulate the step-by-step actions of all the stakeholders in the PDM. So in the manual for financial inclusion, we have categorically set out the penalties, the fines that are going to be there for people who do not pay this money. So
you're going to start arresting peasants.
Well, they are stipulated clearly in the guidelines, and we're expecting that this should be punitive enough for people to fear to run away with the money and be able to pay back.
Honorable, politicizing such projects. This, as it has been explained, is not political in any way. However, will it survive the politics in your view?
Actually, I don't know why you bring in issues of politics. Because a politician would love to see his or her community grow. So if government brings money, they're better. No,
surely.
Let me tell you one thing. I wouldn't have loved to be part of a person failing a government program. Money comes to my area, and all of it.
Is that why MPs are using, asking for more control, so that you can claim this is something that you have extended to the constituency?
I don't need to extend money. Am I a bank? Am I a bank to give people money? It is very clear that this is government money. I'm telling you, we are highly indebted as a country. Why we don't want to see money failing under circumstances where we can control such incidents. We've lost a lot in other programs, much as it's telling you that we've achieved. I'm telling you, I'm on ground. We've not, the livelihood of the people at a local level have not yet increased as you may think. I want to tell the viewers, as leaders, we are interested in seeing a self-sustaining economy. If money comes to Maogola and people are ready to, to productively use it, the better. Because even the burden of an MP will reduce. MPs have been turned into cash machines. So if government brings money, the better. But my role as an MP is to ensure that government money is properly utilized. I was telling you, in the next financial year, you have 45 trillion, but only 21 trillion is for allocation in different departments and agencies of government. Already 24 is committed. So this means if we don't use this money properly this year, we shall have to increase on the burden of the loan repayments, yet we are not recouping back. And remember, we have to recover the economy. The reason as to why government is bringing this money to the people is to ensure that this COVID pandemic is not highly felt by the economy. People have lost businesses, people have lost capital, and this is the reason as to why government want to at least give a hand in terms of capital. What should we do as leaders? Actually, what I'm doing now is to ensure that we advise government.
Maybe it's important for us to do this, to make a distinction between the COVID money and the PDM money. Because once we mix them and we say that
this is
money,
not COVID money.
This money, you mentioned COVID, so I was concerned that
the economy is recovering from the effects of COVID. That is why I mentioned it is not COVID money. You are intervening because you want to, it is one of
Me, Honorable, yes. I would expect that you would be very excited that we are about to disperse this money, and that we are not going to continue waiting, and the community will not be continuing waiting for this money. Honorable, and you would blame government for having
the people in your constituency
to utilize this money.
The people in your constituency, are they excited about this money?
You know, definitely, if anyone is receiving cash, they would get excited.
Yeah,
and I
and
tell
so-
you, no, let me tell you, Supriya.
And so we need,
I'm
I mean,
giving
that's
you
where
the fact-
your support should have been to,
Gabriel,
Yes.
to
Are you
request
aware-
the ministry to
I
expedite.
am aware that people had to sell their bibanja because they had mishandled them yoga. Are you aware? So I don't want this money to become a punishment. People should get money and utilize it properly. That is why government must do its part. You must bring a full package of this model, and you must prepare the people that you are giving the money. That is why when a bank...
And again, Gabriel,
Cyprian, can I submit?
stated,
Can you give me the time to submit?
no,
That
but
is why...
But because I mentioned, I responded to that one, maybe you give me the opportunity to answer it.
no, let me finish.
The point
and-
is this, Gabriel. Enterprise Uganda, you know that institution very well.
I know it.
They are one of the best institutions in Uganda
You
on
did.
enterprise, on business
It was,
development.
it was used
Yes.
for youth livelihood and training.
When you got Steve.
Exactly.
And
And so they are going to continue with their work across the country. We're not looking at that one alone. We're looking at other institutions also
She told you how
which do the mindset change.
youth livelihood performed.
Yes, but you see, I mean, do you want to give up? You have to change the approach. What we are trying to do is to
Cyprian.
change the approach
Okay.
and be able to target the same people but in a different way and be able to make them understand that, first of all, this money is for you to develop. Number two, is you're supposed to pay it back. And and then the penalties are there. I mean, if you don't put penalties, people will just take the money home.
Let me ask. Do you think at times people fail to pay back because it is deliberate? There are so many other factors. Actually, you need even to factor in the issue of climate change.
In our manual,
among the
again,
matter, no, Cyprian, give me time to submit. No, I will not
Gabriel,
allow
It's
that.
actually,
In the
it's actually,
manual,
it's
in the
actually,
manual.
yes, but
Let
it
me
goes
give you
back-
information.
It
No,
goes
let
back.
me first
It goes back
submit.
to the high risk in agriculture, because
agriculture.
a person can actually make a total loss.
And I have an answer. What I was saying, we've dealt with that risk of agriculture. In the financial inclusion pillar, we have a provision dealing with insurance in case of disaster, in case of drought, and all these aspects. We have dealt with it, and even government already has a program where agricultural insurance is much, much cheaper. And this is going to link in very well with that government program of insurance of agricultural products. So we've dealt with this. Our fear really is where people just do not
And
want
you're saying
to
the
pay.
capacity is going to be there for insurance, agriculture insurance to run all over the country?
It's dealt with in the manual. This is a thought out program. And there is a provision for insurance for agricultural products.
All right. Well, you haven't given your view on politicizing, and it's something that has actually come up. Even in Parliament, it did come up. Because, yes, we've had issues of, people going and claiming they're the ones extending this money, using it for political gain, at a certain point saying, okay, now hands off those people, and things like that.
Gabriel, my comment is, first of all, of course, because I'm in civil service, I cannot make political statements, but the parish development model is about the people. The people should be able to be supported to get out of poverty, to move away from subsistence, and be able to do what? To join the money economy, to be able to be economically active. Now, the money is going to move from central government straight away to the parish. Gabriel, it is the community, it's the parish who selects the chairman of the circle. It is the parish who selects the members of the circle. So it's not about politics, it's not about being blue or yellow or something. It's about who have the people selected to be able to chair the circle. So it has nothing to do with politics. Once the money has landed in the parish, it's the community to decide. If they make all the members of the PDM circle green or yellow, I mean, it's their decision in the parish. So that probably would be my comment on politicization of the PDM.
We need to start bringing this to a close, and it's very important to hear. Yes, Honorable, you had a number of questions, but it would be important to also hear some of the recommendations you have, and to know if these are recommendations that government is willing to take on. And some were actually made in Parliament.
No, first of all, my issue has been about sensitization and mindset change. He tells you we have the money and they are yet to get there. So I think we need to do that a little quicker so that we don't continue losing more money.
Okay.
2, involve the relevant stakeholders timely. I'm telling him the MPs are not aware, the LC3 chairpersons are not. Much as you've gone to the parish level, I tell you have leaders in that area. There is no project that can succeed without leadership. You may talk about those committees, but the committees will at the end of the day call an MP. Honorable member, this person is doing like this and this. So the area member of parliament and other leaders must embrace themselves with the parish model first, then, make others follow. 3, when it comes to issues of monitoring and evaluation of government programs, I'm telling you, the ministry cannot do it alone. As you appreciate the concept, as you give out the program on how all this is going to be rolled out, it will enable everyone to know when to come in. So it will simplify and it is less costly. So it's not that we are politicizing this matter, but we are saying let us help government not to lose more money, much as we gave alternatives of what would have been. Actually, I should say, this would not have been the best approach if we are to revive the economy.
What would have been the best
We had
approach?
cooperative banks. You would have a bank where people can borrow money at a reduced rate. He ably knows, no, let me submit, you'll get your time. He ably knows that the interest rate, because it's not that everyone will be covered by the parish model. He knows what is the alternative that you have for these others. The interest rate is still high. Government is still borrowing the most domestically. The domestic borrowing is still high. What do? The cost of production is still high. How are we going to compete with the external market? The cost of production is high. What do you do as government? The taxes are high, everything is high. So at the end of the day, the output is high. What do? Then accessing the international market. As we still use these artificial pesticides that cannot, you ably know that some commodities cannot access the external market because of quality. So what do we do to ensure? Yes.
We actually have we have a plan for this.
Yes.
So
actually, there are number of recommendations she has made,
yes.
and I'm going to have
and I appreciate.
I'm actually going to have you respond to them
Yes.
systematically.
Let me finish
so if you could just finish them,
yes.
I'm going to come
So
to you, and
we are
I've
talking about,
noted them.
We are talking about productivity, profitability, sustainability. This is what we are looking at. How can we have people love agriculture? How can we stop people selling land to buy borders? How do you make agriculture attractive? Simple.
Okay.
Perfect. Honorable, first of all, I'd like to appreciate that you are giving feedback and really constructive feedback on how to move forward. It shows the support that is coming from all corners, and especially from the members of parliament. You're saying that we should expedite the process of implementation. We are on the hills, as I told you. We've launched. We are already forming circles, and sooner or later, money is going to hit the banks of
I thought you said
it
was the people forming these circles. Government was not forming the circles.
Yes, we are supporting them. We have to organize them. They can't come up. They can't organize themselves alone without our support. So we have to make a program for them to organize themselves.
All right.
So
she started with the issue of sensitization.
Yes, she first of all she said that we expedite, which is a good step forward. At least now we agree on a common ground that we move forward this year, and then next year we shall give more. On the issue of sensitization, yes, like I told you, PDM is a 7-pillar pronged approach. The sensitization, community mobilization, and mindset change is a pillar that is chaired by the Ministry of Gender, and they are making a lot of progress in the sensitization. So we were waiting for the launch, but now we are going to make progress, and we will be able to reach Maogola, and you should be able to get the feedback. The monitoring and evaluation, we have an inbuilt mechanism. We actually have a results framework for the PDM, and it is in the guidelines. And if you have the guidelines there, you should be able to see
yes,
the
I saw
framework, which is detailed,
yes,
and very accountable. So the point that probably
see,
I wanted to comment
for monitoring and evaluation, in order for that data to be used for planning, it's got to be accurate. And we're already wondering, other people, will they be able to enter this information? Will they be able to enter it accurately? Because if you don't have accurate data, the monitoring and evaluation does not matter. It will be based on wrong figures.
I agree with you, but as I told you, we're looking at diploma holders as parish chiefs. And these are the people who will have the responsibility of entering this data. And we're very certain that they're competent enough to give us accurate data. If they choose to give us wrong data, then that's a personal problem. You can't blame it you can't blame government, you can't blame the ministry. But I didn't want to lose the point on cooperatives that she brought.
As an alternative,
what
that
Honorable
they
should
think
realize,
would have worked better.
Yes, and what we should all realize is the PDM circle, or a circle per se, is actually a cooperative. It is a cooperative, but at a lower level. And so the idea is, if we can strengthen more and more of these circles across the country, maybe one day they should be able to join and make something like a cooperative bank. So we're moving towards that direction. All we have to do is to take the first step. Try to put people together, let them cooperate, let them share the resources together, let them share economies of scale, and be able to sell their goods as a group, and so on. And then slowly by slowly, we should be able to have a strong commercial bank. So we will get there at some point.
Interest. How is the interest determined on these loans?
Gabriel, the interest is based on inflation, basically. The idea is we do not want to lend you 1 million shillings, and then when you return it back, that 1 million shillings cannot buy the same goods that would have bought last year. So the value of the money would go down. So there's an interest of around 5, 6, 7%, but it will depend on the inflation. So this is something also which is dealt with in the financial guidelines, which the parish circles will have. So it's all defined, but it should just be for purposes of keeping the value of the money, and probably a small amount for buying maybe paper in the office and so on. But it's really not for profit making.
There's something that Honorable mentioned earlier on. She says, you know, if the ministry is going to monitor 10 million shillings, they'll need 2 million shillings, even 3 million shillings. Which brings up the issue of the cost of actually administering the whole of this. How are you ensuring that the cost is actually manageable, that the cost is not another, big, vote, a big spend on these already scarce resources?
Gabriel, the monitoring of PDM is going to be at the local governments level, at the sub-county level, and at the parish level. Now, government already has civil servants there. There are people who are employed to do that. So the only thing that would be required is probably to facilitate them to cover probably transport, fuel, and so on and so on. But government already has a machinery which is paid by government, so the costs are really going to be not as much as you're saying. It will just be for facilitation purposes. You can even imagine in the concept of parish development model, the only people who are leading, who are out the coordinator and the deputy coordinator. Most of the other people are basically ministry employees from the line ministries who have been seconded to the parish development.
All right, from the ministry's point of view.
So that is to cut the costs involved in implementing the PDM.
From the ministry's point of view, what exactly are the next steps?
The next one is popularization. As I said, now that we are done with the launch, we are going to go out to popularize the PDM and then roll it out. So that means that we are going to finalize the registration of the circles, and we are going to be able to do the training.
And you think you'll be able to finish this within 3 months?
Yes, we will do it because we have been preparing. What you don't know is we've been preparing since 2021. COVID kind of slowed us down, but we've done a lot of preparation. We have staff in the local governments. And again, let me tell you, the local governments are key in making sure that this succeeds. So we have staff, every local government has staff, and they know their roles. and they will make sure that they have registered these circles in time. They will make sure they have been trained, the local government officials. So they will make sure that they train the parishes and the communities in their locality. They will make sure that they monitor and make sure that the parish development committees have their meetings, have their planning meetings, and that the circle are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Honorable, your reaction to the next steps, because that is what the, the ministry is planning.
The only thing I would like to advise him as part of local government, there has been a tendency of re-centralizing, much as he's telling you that the local governments are very critical, but he knows that the powers of local governments have been usurped all the time, and they are very demoralized. So I think as a ministry, they will work on that. But I want to inform viewers that this is government money, borrowed money, your money. As we use it, we should have that collective responsibility of ensuring that this money is not misused. It shouldn't be wasted, because our children, the future generation, will pay these loans. So whoever has a responsibility in this parish model, we should do it to the best of our knowledge. That is all I can say as a leader. And particularly me, I will really ensure that, I've always told the Honorable Kasolo under the Myoga, that much as we were brought on board late, I will ensure that no more other money is wasted under my constituency. So as leaders, we should take it up, but as we also implore the technical team to always respect the political wing. You know, they have a tendency of saying that these are senior 6 dropouts, they are S-fund equivalent. So that's why even at times they bring incomplete documents, thinking that we cannot internalize. So with due respect, we must know that it is a collective effort to have a success story of the parish model. I don't think that his intention is to give out money, and at the time of assessing the end of the 3 months, by the end of the close of the financial year, he wants to see a parish model, a failure. So as we are looking for success, we should have deliberate effort, respecting structures, respecting leaders. Actually, when it comes to the trainees, how did they pick on them? You will find that they've picked somebody from Kampala because he's his brother. He's coming to Magula to train my people. When I have so many jobless youth there who they would have trained to train the fellow colleagues there. So we shall get there. It's not politicking, but they should know that this money is there to employ.
Yes, you're going to. You're going to.
The viewers may think that is a true position that, that the people that are training in the local governments are people from relatives and so on. But the real point is the national trainers are part of the people who developed the PDM concept. And so they are very knowledgeable on how it's supposed to work. So those are the people who are the national trainers.
And then where did they select? Because they train trainers.
And then
where did they get those ones?
Yeah, they trained regionally. The trainers, they went to regional, north, east, south, and west, and they trained the district planning officer, the district planner, the district commercial officer, the district community development officer.
So it was district staff.
Yes, district staff, and also the LCs, the councillor, the LC5, and so on. So we trained them so that they are able to train their sub-county staff and then the parish staff. So it's government staff who are trained, leaders in the local governments.
Honorable, I'm surprised you didn't raise an issue around, parishes having different sizes, different number of people, and yet all going to receive the same amount of money. You talked about the parishes in Kampala being, smaller, and the ones being in your constituency being much bigger, but all the parishes are going to receive a uniform amount of money.
I think that has been a song. I thought even the Cyprian is very aware. I have a comparison of all the parishes of Uganda. I've Googled the information. We have a parish like Rubaga Division, Kasubi, 60,000 Ugandans in a parish. You come to villages of Nsambya, Reire, there is a parish that has 187.
187, yes. Not 1,000.
187
people.
You
give them 100 million.
Yes.
Gabriel, let me the point you've made.
Yeah, and I'm sure the numbers can go on and on.
She has made the point.
Because I didn't want us to leave this without
True,
addressing.
you're right.
Yes. Okay, first of all, I said right from the beginning, we are targeting people who are in the subsistence sector. We want to move them from subsistence into the money economy. Take an example of the people in Rubaga division, the one she has just mentioned, 66,000 people. But out of that, I don't think you have 5% or so who are in the subsistence sector. So you can't compare, you can't say that because people in Rubaga division are more than people in a parish in, let's say in Karamoja, that we should give more money to Rubaga. You will find in Karamoja, 90% of the people in the parish are actually the people we are targeting.
Yes, but you see, but where she gives an example of a parish that has less than 200 people, and you're going to give 100 million, yet you have another that has hundreds of thousands, and you're still going to give.
No, let's have a comparison of rural districts.
Divide the money.
The point is, those 66,000 people, you'll find that only probably 500 are the only ones who are in subsistence, and they're the ones you are targeting to move to the money economy. In Kampala here, most people are in the money economy.
Cyprian, something simple. Do you want to
So that is why we say that there are 100 million across board for now, as a beginning, is what we are going to go with. And it's not casting stone. But the point is we are targeting subsistence people.
Okay.
There are few people in Kampala who are in subsistence.
We are out of time, so we need to give our parting shot. Cyprian, I will begin with you.
Okay, mine will be to thank you and SEETV and Honorable for this conversation, but most importantly, to request the viewers that and the country at large to support the parish development model, and for the community to make sure that they look after the finances. Yeah? They look after the finances. They participate. And be able to move out of subsistence, because you are the people we are targeting. We want you to become economically active. Those people who have 4 acres and below, we can encourage you to do intensive agriculture where you have like a cow, a dairy, zero grazing or chicken. People who have more than that, we encourage you to do extensive where you can do commercial crops. So basically, we request you to support the PDM, and that is for your good, and make sure that the resources within your parish, you have oversight over them. Thank you.
Honorable Namuga.
Dear viewers, as leaders, we are going to take the 3 months in quotes, as a pilot. As leaders, we are going to have it as a pilot, and once this project does not perform as expected at the close of the financial year, we shall have to restructure and see a most suitable alternative to this country. I just implore people to do your best to ensure that this succeeds, because if it doesn't, I'm telling you, we shall revise it. We shall look for an alternative, because it is not cast in stones that it should be the parish model. So I encourage leaders to help the government help us to implement these programs, so that we can, at the end of the day, all of us can smile when having household incomes improved and the quality of lives of all the Ugandans. Thanks for viewing. I just encourage you to support these televisions and our local radios, give them money for sensitization so that they can also grow privately. So please, as you sensitize, go to Zimbabwe and involve our local radios. Come to SEETV, give them money to make these adverts. Thank you for listening in, and thanks for the management of SEETV. I really like that last part.
Honorable Goreti Namuga, Mawogola South Member of Parliament, also Shadow Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Mr. Cyprian Chilanyang from the Ministry of Local Government, would like to thank you for being on the big debate tonight. Dear viewer, thank you very much for being part of the show today. In order for the parish development model to succeed, you have to be vigilant and play your part. Otherwise, it will join the rest of the government programs that have failed. From me and our panel for today, it's a good night. God bless you. Till next week when we return with another big debate. Don't blink.